welcome to the Line Change. I'm your host, Tyler, and in this video, we're going to be going over a topic about Elias Pettersson and the Sedins. I heard the other day on the Halford and Brough morning show that supposedly Pettersson and the Sedins do not have a good relationship. By no means am I saying that Elias does not like the Sedins. I'm not saying that at all, nor am I saying that the Sedins don't like Pettersson, but they just simply do not have a good relationship with one another. Basically, Elias Pettersson does not go to the Sedins for advice. He's chosen not to listen to the Sedins or approach them for advice. It's been said he's a lone wolf and he wants to figure things out on his own. That being said, I think that is a huge mistake on Elias Pettersson's part, because how can you not, go to Daniel and Henrik Sedin and ask for their advice, especially considering Elias Pettersson is going through the same struggles that both Daniel and Henrik went through early in their career. Everybody remembers Daniel and Henrik struggled at a time early in their career, not to mention they were dealing with a media firestorm at one point. Those of you that are, closer to my age and have been Canucks fans for, over a decade, and very vividly remember when the Sedins were coming into their own in the league, everyone was saying, saw everywhere in the media. It was like, the Sedins are soft. They're soft this, they're soft that. They were calling the Sedins soft, which is exactly what people are calling Elias Pettersson right now. They're saying he's soft, with the way he's performed this season. They're saying, they're calling him Bambi, because he can't stay on his feet. He gets knocked down so easily. So there's that. I just don't understand why Elias Pettersson is not going to the Sedins and basically being like, hey, can you guys give me some advice dealing with the media and help me get out of this funk that I've been in for a year now? And I'm sure the Sedins, if Elias did that, would be more than willing to help him out and give him advice on how to deal with the media, how to present yourself to the media, instead of saying this garbage like, it's more annoying dealing with the media. Would you ever hear the Sedins say that when they were talking to the media? No, they would never say that. Both Daniel and Henrik were professionals, something that Elias Pettersson could learn how to be. Both Daniel and Henrik became leaders on this team, and they handled the media with professionalism, and not once did you ever hear them criticize the media. Earlier on in the Sedins' career, when they were being criticized by the media, they used it as motivation. It was a motivator for the Sedins, and then look at what they became. They became two of the greatest players to ever wear a Canucks jersey. And they're right up there at the top when it comes to scoring, goals, points. Both Henrik and Daniel are at the top. And let's not forget, both Daniel and Henrik won the Art Ross trophies, like back-to-back seasons. I believe it was, Henrik first and then Daniel, or vice versa. But either way, they won some serious hardware despite not winning a Stanley Cup. But they won some serious hardware. Elias Pettersson has not done that yet. He won Rookie of the Year. Big whoop. He's not proven to be a Art Ross or Hart Memorial candidate so far. And if he, doesn't, toughen up and maybe put his ego aside and actually go to the Sedins for advice, he may not be that type of player, in the future. So I really think Elias needs to, bite the bullet, put his ego to the side and go to the Sedins for advice on dealing with this. Because until he does, obviously, Elias is not going to, flip the switch and go back to being old Petey for the rest of the season. I think you can throw that out the window. It looks like we're going to have to wait until next season if he has a bounce back. No, if he was going to turn things around, he would have done it already. So, yeah, I'm just baffled by this whole, report coming out that he doesn't have a good relationship with the Sedins. He doesn't want their advice because he's got too much pride. I don't know if that's the case, but I guess in a way that's, kudos to Pettersson for that. He wants to do things on his own. But here's the thing. It's not working. Doing things on your own or figuring things out on your own is not working for you. Because if it was working, you wouldn't suck for the last 12 months. You wouldn't be a shell of your former self the last 12 months. The media wouldn't be criticizing you. You're not playing well. You're not playing like an $11.6 million player. And you haven't since you signed the contract I mentioned in a previous video. The writing's on the wall. Facts are there. You just haven't produced. And that is why the media is going after you because, the Canucks paid you $11.6 million. You're making $11.6 million. And you're not putting up the points. You're not putting up the production. Force the Canucks to trade JT Miller, a damn good player, to try and appease you, essentially. And even after that, you've still not produced. So that begs the question now. What is it going to take for the Canucks to make Elias Pettersson happy? What's it going to take? Do you need a winger? They went out and got you one in Jake DeBrusk, and he's leading the team in goals right now. Jake DeBrusk has 21 goals. PD only has 11. So, and I'm sorry, but we're in almost March now, and Elias Pettersson only has 11 effing goals in 50-something games. You got to be kidding me. So, and the other thing that really baffles me is that Elias Pettersson and Daniel and Henrik Sedin, they're Swedes. They're your countrymen. That should be the first point of going to them for advice. They can relate to you, from a countryman standpoint. They can relate to you from a career standpoint. Daniel and Henrik are legends here in Vancouver. And that's what they're there to do. They're there for players like Elias Pettersson to basically, go to them and use them as a sponge. Elias Pettersson should be a sponge, getting everything, that the Sedins have gone through and dealt with throughout their career. And he should just be getting all that information and applying it to his game, or attempting to apply it to his game, or even dealing with the media. It's a no-brainer to me. And I just don't understand how they don't have a good relationship. I'm at a loss for words. When I read, or rather when I listened to that on Halford and Brough, my jaw dropped. I was just like, you gotta be shitting me. Come on. How? It's the Sedins. I don't think you'll find a single person on this planet that will say a bad thing about the Sedins and their character and how they, dealt with the media. They're just amazing human beings. Now, personally, I never got the chance to meet the Sedins, nor have I don't want to say yet, but, if that were to come down the line, hey, I wouldn't say no. I mean, Daniel and Henrik, next to Roberto Luongo, are some of my favorite Canucks of all time. Right around the time that they were drafted, the Sedins that is, was peak of my Canucks fandom. I mentioned in a previous video, talking about my Canucks fandom and how long I've been a Canucks fan. That was right around the time that the Sedins came in, and I basically followed them for their entire career up until their retirement. So the Sedins are pretty big for me. They're a big influence on me, and they should be a big influence on Elias Pettersson, even more so than me. I'm just a guy, sitting in his computer room talking about the Canucks. Elias Pettersson's the guy on the ice getting paid $11.6 million to play like shit right now. And he doesn't want to go to the Sedins for advice because he wants to do it on his own. There's only so much you can do on your own. And just put the ego to the side and freaking, it's not been confirmed or put out there that, Elias Pettersson has never gone to the Sedins for advice or to help with his game. But from the way, Halford and Brough talked about this, it apparently has been a thing for a while now, which again blows my mind because this is the first I've ever heard of something like this. I've seen, guys like JT Miller when he was here talking to the Sedins at practice. I've seen other players talk to the Sedins at practice. I have not once seen Elias Pettersson talking to the Sedins at practice. So maybe that needs to change, and maybe someone needs to go to Elias Pettersson and be like, talk to them. Maybe push him to do it. I don't know, someone like maybe Quinn Hughes or someone else on the team. Basically say, what's the worst that can happen if he does go to the Sedins for advice? What's the worst? What's going to happen? They're going to, hurt his feelings by critiquing his game and, telling him where he did wrong and tell him where he needs to get better. Rick Tocchet already does that, and he's your coach. So what's wrong with two Hall of Famers critiquing your on-ice play and getting help from two Hall of Famers? You can't get any better than that. Getting advice from two Hall of Famers, anyone would jump at that opportunity to get advice from them. So I just don't understand it. And I know I'm kind of ranting a little bit just because this irks me. It kind of pisses me off that, Elias has these at his disposal. He has the Sedins at his disposal, but he's refusing to use it because he wants to figure it out on his own, which I can respect to an extent, that he wants to do this on his own, which is, commendable. It shows that, he wants to do it, DIY, but up until this point, it clearly hasn't worked. So maybe you should change strategies and maybe give it a shot and try something different. Maybe you can get back to that 100-point player that you used to be, and then maybe the media would not be so harsh on you. And maybe you wouldn't have to say dumbass quotes, post game, off camera. On that note too, this was something that was said off camera because I did show, post game clip from PD, but he wasn't talking to Ian McIntyre. Apparently this was, off camera. Ian McIntyre approached him, calmly, and that was the quote that Elias Pettersson gave McIntyre. So yeah, there's that video. So let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that Elias Pettersson should openly go to the Sedins and maybe get some advice, how to deal with the media for his on-ice play, something that he might be lacking, something he could be doing different? Let me know in the comment section down below. And also let me know what you guys think about this, because I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. It's just, like I said, it's mind-blowing. My jaw's on the floor. Not literally, but it's just, how can you not take advice from the Sedins? And how can you have a quote-unquote bad relationship with the Sedins when you're from the same country? You're sweet. All three of you are Swedish, and you can relate in that manner as well. I just don't get it. Anywho, that's going to do it for this video. If you like this video, make sure you like it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, feel free to smash that subscribe button. Really helps out the channel, as do the likes, share, and if you're listening and watching this on Spotify, leave a comment. I'm going to attach a poll to this video, and I'm going to ask you guys, Canucks Nation, do you think Elias Pettersson should go to the Sedins for advice on A, his play, and B, dealing with the media? So yeah, that's going to do it for this video. I'll catch you guys next time, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.